Second quarter of the season is in the books. Let's talk about some good teams for a change. What is up, NFL fans? Welcome to Finn's Temporal Focus. As you can tell, I am a Dolphins fan, but today we will talk about the second quarter of the season, which usually I do after eight weeks. But the Dolphins were on Thursday night, and I kind of got behind, and I'm still behind because here we are, Thursday, getting ready for Thursday night football. Here I am putting out a standings video. But, hey, it's going to be fun. You guys come in, let me know, leave some comments about your teams, whoever you root for. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's even, New England, Buffalo, all of our rivals. That's fine. Even you Kansas City people. Yeah, you know what? Y'all go away. But other than that, I'm pretty good. We're just going to jump right into everything. We'll start with my beloved AFC East, where it is a two-team race. You've got the surprising, I'm going to say surprising, even though I said at the beginning of the season, Mike Vrabel alone, to me, get you 2 to 3 more wins on the season. Mike, you can stop now. You got it. But here they are. Drake May playing out of his mind. The New England Patriots 7-2, leading the division over the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if it gets more shocking than that. Well, yeah, it does. It does when we get to the AFC West, but we will get there. Of course, you've got the Buffalo Bills, 6-2. Now, I only am going into context of the teams. I will have the full standings for the divisions, but I'm only really going to talk about the teams that are winning. We know where Miami is, the Jets. Of course, they've won one game, but to me, the Jets have actually played better than the Dolphins, even though the Dolphins beat the Jets earlier, one of their 2 wins. But overall, I think the Jets have been in some close games. And, of course, Williams being traded to the Cowboys, I will touch on that real quick. Williams being traded to the Cowboys. And, of course, Sauce Gardner being traded to the Colts, which will be the next division we'll get into. But absolutely insane that this is the way that it has come about, because Indianapolis really going all in. To me, 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, a little much for my blood. But a tremendous defensive back. So the Jets are really saying, hey, we're starting all over. We're getting rid of everybody. We're breaking this down, and we're building from scratch. We'll see how it works, because this will be the first week we've seen them without Gardner and Williams, but they were already playing good. Wow, I've talked about the Jets a lot more than I planned on this video. But anyway, you've got New England 7-2, Buffalo 6-2. I still think Buffalo wins this division, but you have to really admire. I love Mike Vrabel. You have to admire what this team is accomplishing early. This is way ahead of schedule, especially considering I don't think New England fans have suffered enough. You own this division long enough, and now Buffalo has owned it. Who am I kidding? Miami and the Jets are just going to be there for y'all's punting pleasure. But anyway, can't say enough about Mike Vrabel and the job he's done in New England. I still think Buffalo comes back and wins this division. But New England is playing really good football right now. We'll move on to the AFC North. This one is a little bit crazy because I feel like everybody is still in this just because, that's right, Cleveland Browns fans, I am talking to you. Because even though Cleveland is 2-6, they're 3 games out of first. It's like Jim Carrey said, you're saying there's a chance. 3 games out of first, you got a shot. So I'm leaving them in there with my little talks. But you got Pittsburgh 5-3, Baltimore 3-5, and Cincinnati 3-6. I think Cincinnati is the team that is really. Actually, I take that back. I think Cincinnati and Cleveland are gone. Cincinnati reminded me of the old Dolphins days of the late 90s or early 90s as well, really, in the late 80s. Okay, Marino's whole era. But we're going to score 40, and the opposite team is going to score 45 because their defense is just so, So, but I just don't think there's going to be enough there for Cincinnati and really Cleveland either. But just because of the numbers game, I'm keeping them in the talk. Again, they're 3 games out of first. A lot of season left. The other thing is you've got Baltimore 3-5, Pittsburgh 5-3. Baltimore's schedule over the next 3 to 4 weeks is very weak. And it started with Miami last Thursday. But if they continue, they're very winnable games all the way up until they play Pittsburgh. Now, depending on what Pittsburgh does, they could really be maybe a game out of first by the time they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is very, very possible for the Baltimore Ravens to take this division. And we'll see. I mean, you got Lamar back. Derrick Henry still, which I've got my league leaders video will be coming out right after this. Derrick Henry definitely in that. Lamar not so much, but he just missed a lot of games, and I understand that. But the Ravens fans that are out there, if you're checking this video out, you're not going to see a lot of Lamar Jackson in my video for league leaders in the second quarter. We're going to move on, and then you've got the AFC South, which Indianapolis 7-2, Jacksonville 5-3, and again, hats off to Little, Jacksonville's kicker, 68-yard field goal. Thing of beauty. I love this kid. I know he's been kind of up and down, but I love a kicker with a big leg. I was a big Pete Stoyanovich fan when he came into the league, and then Alindo Mare, a big fan as well. Me being a Dolphins fan, those were my kickers. Loved both of them. And Jason Sanders is good too. But I love the big leg, and man, does Little have a leg. Absolutely. If he can get his accuracy better, I mean, basically, if you get to your 45-yard line, your own 45-yard line, you got a chance for a field goal. It's absolutely insane to me. And then you have Houston 3-5, and I still think I still think they're in the talk. It's about over, I think, for them. But we'll see how it goes. I think Indianapolis and Jacksonville, if the playoffs were today, Jacksonville would be in, which is so interesting. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But right now you're looking at, and I think Indianapolis does take this division. I don't think there's anybody going to catch them at this stage. And let me real quick, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is just an absolute beast. He has been since he's been in the league, really. But I think Daniel Jones has come to a team where he does not have to do it all, and it has helped him so much. He's playing lights out. He is playing really good. Last week's game aside, the Colts have played really good. And then we'll go to the AFC West. This one, crazy. It is a 3-man race. The Raiders is the only team that is out. But Denver 7-2, the Los Angeles Chargers 6-3, and the Kansas City Chiefs 5-4. First of all, Chiefs fans, your boys are going to be fine. I will say real quick, and I'm going to get into that. If the playoffs were today, I'm sorry, you didn't make it. But unfortunately, we still have 2 quarters of season left, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be just fine. They're going to be there. I have no doubt in my mind, as much as it pains me to say, but they will be there. And you still can't even rule them out for the division. Denver is playing really well. Dart is way ahead of schedule, I think. He's playing really well. But that defense, Denver's defense, is absolutely outstanding. I don't know if they're still on the record setting pace to break the Bears' 85 record for most sacks in a season. But regardless, they are the defense. And if that offense can just put up a few points a game, that's all they need to do. That's all they need to do. I think with that defense, I think Denver does win this division. I think they hang on to it. And then you have the Chargers and the Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs will catch the Chargers. Unfortunately, because I am a Chargers fan, I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I do like the kid. I do wish we would have drafted him. But it is what it is. And we end up with Tua. And I do love Tua as a human being. And I really wanted it to work out. It's not going to. But I do love Justin Herbert. And I even, with the Chargers, I go all the way back to the Dan Fouts days and Eric Coryell. I love that stuff. Dan Fouts was the Dan Marino before Dan Marino. And Charlie Joyner, all those guys. Such a great football team to not ever, even go to a Super Bowl. Really sucks for them, but as badly as I hate to say it, I think the Chiefs will catch the Chargers, but I do think the Denver Broncos hang on to the division, and they'll get that division. So we're going to move over to, I tell you what, while we're on it, let's just stay with the AFC. Let's look at the playoffs. If the playoffs were today, you would have Indianapolis, New England, both of them with byes. Then you would have Denver, Pittsburgh, and then your wild cards would be Buffalo, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Kansas City, Houston, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland on the outside looking in. Pretty much everybody else. There's a few of those I'm sure that are still mathematically alive, but let's be realistic, okay? Pretty much Kansas City, Houston, and Baltimore are the only 3 that's really on the outside that I think have a shot at getting in, and I really think the door is closing on Houston as well. But I could very well see Kansas City and Baltimore getting in, and maybe the Chargers and the Jaguars missing out. That being said, and please, guys, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. But for the AFC, that is what it looks like. And I don't think there's going to be. I think Buffalo will get the division. I think Indianapolis and Denver will be your 1 and 2 seeds. And then I think Buffalo and the Baltimore Ravens will be your home teams for the other 2 divisions. Then I think the Chargers will be there as a wild card. I think New England will obviously be there as a wild card. And then lo and behold, I think the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, for you Pittsburgh fans, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say Pittsburgh gets in and the Chargers have to sit home. I hate that because I do like the Chargers. I've always really liked the Chargers. And yes, for you younger generation, yes, the Phillip Rivers years as well. Antonio Gates. I loved all those guys. I've just always been a Chargers fan. They've always had players that I really, really enjoyed watching. But that is what it looks like right now, and that is where I think it will be going. So now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to go to the NFC. We will also start in the NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, that's about it. There's nobody going to catch the Eagles in this division. It is an absolute dumpster fire. But I am leaving Dallas in. They are 3-5-1. They do have an outside shot at maybe making the playoffs. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for you Cowboys fans. So you have the Eagles basically at 6-2. And you've got the Green Bay, and move to the NFC North. Not really much to say about the Eagles other than I don't want to root for the Eagles. Now, my sister-in-law is an Eagles fan, so I kind of have to root for them a little bit. I'm not a huge Eagles fan, but I will say it's going to be hard not to root for them a little bit just because of Jalen Phillips. I really would like for Jalen Phillips to do well in Philadelphia. And if he's not there, wherever he goes, if he's not there after this year, because he will be a restricted free agent after this year, I don't think the Eagles signed him to any type of contract. I think he's just playing out the contract he had in Miami. So I got to root for the Eagles just a little bit. We're moving on to the NFC North. This is the only division left. Halfway through the season, every team in this division has a shot. That's insane to me. You've got the Green Bay Packers at 5-2-1. Big disappointing game against the Panthers last week. You've got the Detroit Lions at 5-3. So they're only a game and a half out. The reason they're a game and a half is because Green Bay did beat Detroit earlier in the season. You have Chicago also 5-3. And then the Vikings are sitting there at 4-4. So literally, all these teams in this division are like a game and a half out of each other. So that is insane to me. For Green Bay, now again, the Lions are a lot like the Chargers are in the AFC for me. I followed them for a long time. And the Lions are kind of the same. I was a huge Barry Sanders fan. Herman Moore. A lot of those guys. Chris Spielman. So I kind of, and I like this team. I like the Detroit Lions and what they've put together there with Gibbs. And, of course, I can't, the other running back, Knuckles. But I don't see them being able to catch Green Bay. I really don't. And I don't think Chicago and Minnesota will either. I think this is going exactly the way it's going to go. And unfortunately, one of these teams is probably not going to make the playoffs because of how good also the NFC West is as well, which we'll get there. But right now, I still think Green Bay wins the division. I think they can hold on and they will get it. And then we're going to look at the NFC South. You got Tampa Bay and Carolina, the only two teams that are really doing anything. And I think Tampa Bay wins this division. I don't think anything changes there. But Tampa Bay and Carolina, I mean, Carolina is only 2 games back of, a game and a half back of Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay really, it shouldn't be a shocker that they're doing as well as they are. But I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan, and now I am. I was not a fan of him coming out of college. He seemed so full of himself. And even in Cleveland, he seemed so full of himself that it was just... And don't get me wrong, I get about any quarterback you have is going to have a cocky side to him. You almost have to. Most football players are going to be that way. You have to feel that you're the best player on the field. I get that. But there's just something about him that just rubbed me the wrong way. And that changed after, he went to Carolina. He went to the Rams. Of course, he had the big come from behind in the Rams. I can't remember who that was against, but he did have a come from behind performance while he was playing with the Rams. And then he comes to Tampa Bay, and he has settled this team in so well. And he really just seems like now he's just a part of the guy. He's just one of the guys. And I love that about him. And I've literally, it's one of those players where I went from, man, I just can't stand this guy, to being, man, I really hope he succeeds here because he deserves it. And for me, Baker Mayfield, he deserves it. I am a Baker Mayfield fan right now. And a lot of it is that I'm all for guys having that redemption. And didn't go down well in Cleveland, but when does Cleveland do anything correctly when it comes to quarterbacks? Nothing that I know of since Bernie Kosar. So you got Baker Mayfield who goes to Tampa Bay. I think they keep rolling. I think they win the division in the South. And then we go to the NFC West. This one surprises me. It's a 3-man race. They're all within half a game. Not 1.5. Half a game. These teams. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are the leaders in the Western Division. And the Rams are number 2 at 6-2. Seahawks, by the way, 6-2. Rams 6-2. San Francisco 49ers 6-3. I'm really surprised with Seattle. So, Junior, if you happen to be watching this, congratulations, dude. Guy I work with, he's a Seahawks fan. Has been for a while. And congratulations, your boys are playing really well. I still think the Rams are the team that's going to take this division. Defensively, I think they're better. And Matthew Stafford is just being Matthew Stafford. He leads the league in touchdowns. I think, and I've got my other video coming up, I think he only has 2 interceptions on the season. And I think 21. It's either like 21, 22 touchdowns, which we'll get into that in the other video. But he is playing amazing. And so many playmakers that they have there on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. I just think they will take... I think they'll start within the next 2 to 3 games before you get into the fourth quarter of the season, which I think they will start to pull away from the 49ers and the Seahawks. But as it sits right now, Seahawks 6-2, Rams 6-2, 49ers 6-3. Seahawks would win the division if it was today. But it's not today. And I think the Rams is the team that ends up eventually taking this division as we will go into the playoff picture for the NFC. And as of right now, you have the Eagles and the Buccaneers would actually be your two bye teams. You have the Seahawks and Green Bay that would be your division winners that would host a wild card game. And then the other three teams that would make it would be the Rams, the 49ers, and the Detroit Lions, with the Bears, the Panthers, the Vikings, and I'm going to throw the Cowboys in there just because they're not, they're within 2.5 games or so, but it doesn't look good in Dallas. But Williams, they did get Williams from the Jets. Maybe they can finally stop the run. We'll see how that goes. But the main ones is going to be the Bears, Panthers, and the Vikings. And you certainly wouldn't have thought about the Panthers being on this list, but they're there. So when you look at the NFC, the Eagles, it's not even close. It's a one-man race, and that's it. The only thing they're concerned with is a number one seed. Tampa Bay, I've already said, I think they're going to stay with what they have, and they will win the division. Seattle is the other one. I think the Rams overtake the Seahawks, and they will win that division. And then you have the Green Bay Packers, who I also think will win the division. So only one real change for the NFC. The AFC, I think that thing can completely flip-flop compared to what it is, or what it's showing right now if the playoffs were being held today. I think I said two teams that I think would win the division instead of the ones that are leading right now. In the NFC, only one. I think the Rams win that division. And then as far as the wild cards, I don't think there's going to be a lot of change other than I think that the Seahawks and the Rams will switch places. And I think actually that's it. I think the Seahawks and the Rams will switch places. And then you'll still have Seattle, San Francisco, and Detroit is going to win or be the wild cards. So that is it in a nutshell of what the division looks like after the second quarter. It's after 9 weeks. Now, I know a lot of this also, you have to remember a lot of teams have byes. That will come into play a lot in my next video for the league leaders, who's leading in passing and passing and receiving and sacks and all that stuff. It does make a difference at this point. It's also why I like doing this in 4 weeks out at a time. First quarter 4 weeks, second quarter 8 weeks, so on. And then you can kind of even it out once you get through the 16 games. And then you kind of got that 17th week to be 18th week. You know what I'm saying? But the 17th game that they're going to play to kind of even it out as far as saying, oh, hey, this guy is here. And it kind of, that way you can just talk about who is winning yardage and all that stuff like that in that last game. So that's the way I'll usually try to break it down. I will continue. So 3 weeks from now, I will be doing the third quarter. I just got behind because, like I said, the Dolphins played Thanksgiving. Man, I'm really going into the past. Thursday night. So the Dolphins and the Ravens played Thursday night, and I just got behind because I just didn't feel like it was a bad few days for us Dolphin fans. But everybody else, Dolphins fans, I hear from you. Everybody else, leave some comments. Let me know if you don't agree with what I'm saying, especially guys. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that's like, oh no, Seattle, we can do this. Not saying you can't do it. It's just one of those. I think the Rams are a better football team. Also, you look at New England and Buffalo. New England fans, come at me. No, we got this. I just think New England is ahead of the curve. And Buffalo has been there and done it longer. I think they will be the ones to take care of business in the end. And then, of course, you got Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I don't want to discard Pittsburgh. It seems like they're always there. But the Ravens just, so much bad luck early in the season. I think they overtake the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Steelers fans, Patriots fans, and Seahawks fans, roast me in the comments. It's fine. Let's have a good time. Let's talk about this. And you tell me why that they are going to be okay. And which they will be okay. I think all of those teams will make the playoffs. I just don't think they win their division. And let me know in the comments, do you enjoy this type of breaking the divisions down and talking about where we think that they're going to be? All those things. But as I say at the end of every video, and now I say it to NFL fans across the U.S., make good decisions. Hopefully the Jets did make some good decisions, or I hope for you guys. I don't really care. But hopefully, I mean, you got 2 first round. You guys are built on draft picks right now. That being said, guys, make good decisions.